Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Call the meeting to order. Stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the May the 6th, 2019 council meeting. First, we have a roll call.
Mr. Ice.
Here.
Mr. Locke.
Here.
Mr. Hampton.
Here.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Muller.
Here.
Mr. Loomis.
He is going to be absent tonight. He couldn't make it. He sent me an email earlier this evening. First on the agenda, we have Mr. Douglas Gill from 11,711 Tunnel Hill Road. Sir, you want to come to the podium and
say my piece?
Yeah. What's going on?
Well, just so y'all know, I've been lifetime area, Perry County resident, Muscatine County resident, live in Gills Hollow in Roseville. So that way, you know, I'm just not a new man. I just come into town from New York or something. So, family's been around since 1920. I bought a piece of property on Tunnel Hill Road back in November of 2015. Vacant lot, half acre. Okay? Just a vacant lot, nothing on it, no house, no trailer. Apparently it used to be a trailer, not there anymore prior to my purchase. And then apparently the previous owners told me that I had to come down here and do something with the water. I don't want the water, don't need the water. So when I came down here, back then, in November, they told me I had to cut the line, cap it, put a clamp on it. I did that. Your man come out, I'm sure he's the meter man, whatever you want to call him, come out and inspected. He went twice and couldn't find it, so the third time I had to show him. So he did pass it. So now we're done with it. It's cut to the curb, no water, okay? Not hooking up to it, don't need it. So they told me that we made an agreement, because I told her, I said, dig it up, I don't want it, don't bill me for it, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, you don't want to do that. So now, this year in January, I said, look, I'm 100% sure I don't want the water, never going to use it, don't want it. Stop billing me. So they bill me $10 a month, was the agreement I guess you guys agreed upon at that time, to leave the meter, apparently leave the meter in. Why you need to dig the meter up, I don't know. It's not on my property, it's actually in the right of way at the edge of the road. Gas company came, they dug up the line, capped their line, power company came, they cut down their line. Now I'm having trouble with the water. I've been fighting this now since January, and all I get is, well, you'll have to wait till the solicitor contacts you. Well, that's been long enough. You know, I told them in December, I don't want the water, stop billing me. And refund my money from January 1 of this year, because I told you at that time I want to separate them. So I'm here today because all I do is get round circles, you know, this round circles. I talked to all of them over there and they said, oh, you have to do this, you got to do that. I'm not doing any of it. I don't have water, I've never used water. The line is cut and capped and inspected by your water man at the curb. So now I'm here to say, can you get them to quit billing me? That's where I'm at.
Okay.
What do we do? How do we stop it? It's almost impossible. Water bill is higher than my property taxes. You know? It's a vacant lot. We're never going to, you know, not going to move on. Actually, I'm moving to New Concord. So I'm just going to own the property and pay taxes on it. Just leave it set there.
So the lot's still vacant today.
It's got a garage on it for my personal, like put my motorhome in it. That's what I'm going to do with it. No utilities.
When you bought the property, did it have water and sewer on it?
Well, it had sewer on it, but it's illegal.
Did it have water and sewer on it when you bought the property?
Well, what I'm saying is the sewer is illegal, so we've dug it up. It's gone.
But it had a sewage system on it. Illegal or not illegal, it had a sewage, and once upon a time there was a trailer there.
Yeah, I
Then
think
it was not actually a vacant lot, so it's...
it is now.
Okay.
Since I purchased it, it is a vacant lot. I think what they put in was a 55-gallon drum as a septic tank. That's what it is. It's not
It was
legal.
It was never approved.
No, never approved. I went to the health department and they're like, no. So they come out and they said no. So, and like I said, the water's gone, sewer's gone, electric's gone. Like I said, I'm gonna build it. I got a building built on it just to park a motorhome in. A couple old cars I'm gonna stash in there. I mean, that's hopefully it never leaves this area. You know, we know how the crime rate is. It'll never be an inhabitable piece of property as long as I'm alive. I own property in Roseville, I own property in New Concord. So it'll never be a residence. It'll never have a mailbox. So all I want to do is stop the water. And all I get is, gotta talk to the solicitor, gotta talk to the solicitor. You know, after 6 months of this, it's time to come here and
Talk to solicitor.
talk. So that's where I'm at. I don't want the water, don't need the water. It's been-
Had anyone ever give you the contact information for us, listeners?
She told, no, I've never had a contract, so to speak.
Contact number.
No, nothing. Nothing. I don't get anything. I don't get anywhere. I get, they'll contact you, you know, even when I come in. They'll contact you. Well, that's 6 months ago. They ain't contacted me yet. And I told him, I said, my attorney's Graham and Graham. Contact you. Because that's who I always use for all my affairs. Nothing. So you see my frustration.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a
Right,
council
right.
person and I've been a mayor. Village of Hemlock. So trying to be as kind as I can. I don't want a water bill. I don't need it. Never going to use it. And it was already approved by the water person that we dug it clear back to the meter pit. It's off the property. It's got a plastic cap in it. It's got a stainless steel clamp on it. I mean, I did everything I'm supposed to do. So this is where we're at. I just want to stop the billing.
I just received the information for the first time this morning, so
Are you the solicitor?
I am the solicitor. But yeah.
So I've been dealing with you for 6 months.
No, you've been dealing with me for approximately 7 hours because that's how long I've known about the situation.
So see how I've been lied to.
I don't know anything about that. It's perhaps one person thought somebody was getting something to me and they didn't, but I received it this morning. So all I can tell you at this point is, unless something's changed, is my understanding the village has a termination fee, I don't know if, or abandonment fee of $500 and an application that needs to be submitted. So if there's any waiver to be done about that, that would be up to council to waive that. I wouldn't have the legal authority to do that without their
That's what I'm asking
opinion
now.
or anything of that nature. So unless it doesn't apply for some reason, which I would need to talk with Tom about probably, since he has more of the hands-on information about how it all works. But the last I was aware of, there's a $500 abandonment
Yeah, the temporary, what is
application.
it, temporary termination is what he did.
Temporary termination is what it sounds like he
Okay.
did,
And
and
then
it
if
sounds
you
like
do
he
a
needs
permanent
to be.
abandonment, you pay, it's a $500 abandonment fee. The reason we did that, if you remember, is we still have to pay down on a debt, and it was calculated upon every pit put in. So whenever someone would abandon it, it's a $500 fee to have it abandoned.
If we're going to go that route, I want you to think about it this way. Think about it on my side. I've been paying on this since November of 2015. I've paid my $500. I mean, I want you to consider that.
Right.
You know,
But I just want you to understand
Yeah.
why we do it. There's an actual reason behind it. It's not just.
Okay, but you know, on my side.
Can I intervene here just a minute, please? One, I don't know why they didn't have you knock on my door before they put you to the solicitor, or you and I could have settled it.
Okay.
So I would ask this council that you let me and Mr. Gill settle it, and I'll
Absolutely.
take care of the situation. Good enough?
Hey, it's fair enough.
Okay. I'll discuss it with you tomorrow.
Okay, you got a telephone number or some way for me to get a hold of you?
I will do that, and I will be at your premises.
Well, there's no one lives there. I mean,
I know that. Well, we're going to meet there.
Okay.
So you tell me when.
Tomorrow, 3:30.
I quit at 3, so it's gonna have to be before that.
You quit at 3.
I quit at 3.
Okay, I get off at 3.
3 o'clock, okay?
How about
Well-
Friday?
Well, we can't meet tomorrow then,
How
right?
about Friday?
Okay, I quit at 11:30 on Fridays.
Anytime Friday.
Okay, you let me know.
Anytime Friday. You tell me.
You give me a time, Friday morning, give me a
9
time.
o'clock.
I'll be there.
All right, 9 o'clock Friday morning.
Done.
Done.
Okay,
Thank you all for your time.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Next on the agenda, have approval of the clerk's minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Not roll call?
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
Yes.
Next, need a motion to approve the clerk's reports and the May revenue adjustments to the 2019 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Not roll call?
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
Yes.
Under correspondence and messages, just a reminder of the public meeting Thursday evening. Here, reference to the neighborhood revitalization
Isn't it
grant.
Wednesday?
I hear you.
Isn't it Wednesday? The 8th?
What is?
That
It's
meeting?
the 8th, yeah.
Cap.
What did I say?
Friday.
Thursday
Oh, Wednesday, the 8th. Yes, Wednesday, the 8th,
at 6
6 p.m.
down
Yeah. Rec Center, where we'll have probably a controversy over some people. Well, that or we can have it here.
What's the controversy?
Yeah, what's the controversy?
Is the basketball still playing or anybody?
No, shouldn't.
No.
Climbing
They're
once
still
on
playing, but
Thursday.
we don't know when.
Archery's done. Yeah, we're good.
The back door might be open.
Well, and, you know, I go in there once in a while, they're in there, but you don't know when they're gonna be in there.
Okay,
they climbing?
No, they're playing basketball.
okay.
I'm just
I'm
talking
still
about-
climbing, yes.
But not on Wednesday.
I'm still climbing, but I climb on Thursday.
Well, last time there were people
Wednesday
in
at
there
6.
climbing.
I'll try to make sure I don't know what's
Yeah,
going
on
on.
Thursday, that's climbing.
I've enjoyed that
Yes,
process.
this is Wednesday.
It's gonna be Wednesday night.
These guys are pretty cool to work with. Like,
So Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock, I'll be in here at 7:30. I'm taking the last of the surveys down Wednesday morning at 7, so they have the most accurate data on what response we had from the public as to the surveys that's been sent out.
got surveys, get them in.
Yeah.
How much response did we get?
The last time I checked, we had 9, but that's been last week.
I just got the letter to mail Saturday when the water bill
Right.
came. So if they have to be turned in Wednesday, a lot of people weren't gonna turn them in until the water bill's due on the 20th.
Yep. So it is what it is. They set the meeting up, so, but that's all right. We're still going to collect them, and I'm still going to turn them in. So that's why I'm waiting to get as many as we can, and I told them I'd take them down Wednesday morning so they can have for Wednesday evening. Okay. That's all we can do about that.
What time's that, 8?
6.
6.
6.
It's on Facebook.
We're having it down there or up here?
Down there. There won't be anything going on here, or down there. Everything's over with, except for climbing wall, and that's on Thursday.
It's the last Thursday.
No, we're still climbing on Sunday.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Solicitor's list. Do you have anything here, Jan?
On the Sprinkle property, Adam checked today with the trustee Brent Stubbins, and he said everything's been uploaded to the bankruptcy court, so we should have the check by the end of the month. He hasn't heard anything back from Rose Fox about what we discussed with the Main Street property, so we're just leaving that alone.
Okay.
And funding for new fire station, we had that ready to go tonight, but we're gonna hold off on that. So what I need to know from you is what date you want the new request for proposals to be submitted so that we can circulate that again. And then I'll get back with bond counsel to prepare the ordinance for passage. On Cherry Lane, Attorney Dal Ponte.
Monday, June the 3rd.
Monday,
So
June 3rd?
that's be the next meeting, so they'll be in by, Friday, end of the day, Friday, May 31st.
Okay. I'll get that revised and sent around, and then for the June 3rd meeting, do you want to pass as an emergency, or do you want to do 3 readings?
I'd say emergency so we can get started on it while the weather's still good.
I think you're right, Chris. If you do that, you're gonna be 6 weeks. You're gonna be the last meeting in July before you pass it if you don't.
I'll have him do it as an emergency.
Could that constitute, I mean,
First Monday in July.
I had him do it for an emergency tonight, because I thought everybody was anxious to get started, so, yeah, you can do it that way for June 3rd. I just didn't want to tell him to do it that way again if that's not what you wanted to do.
as long as we're not bringing in.
Yeah, you wouldn't pass it till the first Monday in July. If you had 3 readings.
Okay, what's the next step?
Well, I guess my question will be, can we justify doing it as an emergency?
That's what I was just asking.
Bond counsel seemed to think it would be all right, so
Okay.
just going with,
Well, let me explain, that I took it off the table for the night because I didn't get the proposals out. I didn't realize that May the 3rd was the deadline to have them in.
May 3rd was? To
Right,
have men.
to have them in for the night's meeting.
Oh,
I don't know how I missed that, but I missed it, so I'll take that, no problem. So I didn't feel, even though everybody knows that I want to go to the community bank,
sure,
that I didn't feel myself that it was
fair.
fair to do it as an emergency without at least
Other 2.
give them the opportunity to make a proposal.
Gotcha.
And
So
I
if
agree.
you got any problems with it, I'll take it right now.
And I agree with the same thing, you know, we want to make,
No.
you
You
know,
see in every process we've
I
done
thought-
anything like that.
Honestly, I thought all the proposals were out and only the community bank gave us something back, to be honest with you, so that's where I was at in the loop.
No, I'd like to say, I apologize. I had so much on my plate, I did not see the May 3rd deadline, and I had 2 emails from Jan that stated so. I'll take it. Oops.
I didn't know if I did that or not, Tom. I was about to say.
No,
If I didn't do, I'm sorry.
No, and 2, I didn't recall, and I know we discussed passing that as an emergency in executive session, but I don't recall, any motion or anything was passed as an emergency, but that's beside the point. I missed it. I dropped the ball, so that's it.
Pick it back up and run with it again.
And we can make it for the last meeting this month. That'll give them ample time, I think. So if you want to back up to date, say before the 20th, if they're due the 17th, I will get them out tomorrow to all 3 banks.
can we have all the current information to do that for tomorrow? Get 'em out
Yeah, I can
tomorrow.
get the changes made pretty quickly.
I just think it's a matter of changing the date on the proposal
the
that the
proposal,
bond
yeah.
council submitted, isn't it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you think you can get it done and have the deadline by the close of business day on the 17th, so we can do it on the 20th as an emergency, that saves us 2 weeks.
That's what I'll do. Be the 17th, will be the end of the day, 17th.
Okay.
And we will go through the same procedure Monday, May the 20th.
Yep.
As an emergency.
All right.
And I apologize, Jan.
Oh, no problem.
I just didn't, there were some things about it, because of my fault, I just didn't feel looked right.
No, I agree. It should be sent around to more than one.
Maybe you need to get on Facebook.
Maybe I should.
Knew that was
Maybe you
coming.
shouldn't.
Knew that was coming.
I don't know anything about that joke, so.
You'll find out where the water leaks are.
Right.
And the deepest potholes.
Okay, thank you.
And
Jan,
then for Cherry Lane, I was at a meeting about a week or 2 ago when Attorney Don Del Ponte came over and talked to me. Apparently he's the attorney that Karen Brown has gone to see about the issue with Cherry Lane. So he brought it up at the end of the meeting we were at, and I discussed it with him for about 10 or 15 minutes. I let him know if there's anything you want to see. I have a whole file on it. Happy to share maps with you, etc. Please give me a call. Be glad to look at it. And I haven't heard from him again since. So, and then Brittany has emailed me a few times worrying about that public records request. I'm sorry, Brittany, I haven't gotten back to you.
You're fine.
Just been a little hectic, but since I ran into Don Del Ponte and he's apparently representing her, and I invited him to come over and look at this file.
Well, her
and sit
last
down.
email didn't really say that she wanted anything.
It didn't, and you very clearly asked her for what we needed, and she hasn't supplied it. So that, coupled with the fact that I've heard from her attorney and offered full cooperation, and I haven't heard from him again, I think the ball's in their court.
Okay.
Is the way I'm going to look at it.
The last meeting we had at down here for the Habitat, her mother made a special point to come down and introduce herself to each and every one of us that was sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Blame us for having to walk.
Bill and Billy. And she didn't say anything, didn't bring anything up, but she just kind of, what's her name, the mother?
Well, I'm sure it's a frustrating situation for her, but I explained to Attorney Del Ponte, about we've got the township, we have the village. Part of the lane is in the village. Part of it is not necessarily a lane and it's outside the village, and there could even be easement concerns between those adjacent property owners, and I think that needs to be worked out more than anything. So I think he seemed to recognize those issues, but like I said, I haven't heard from him again.
Tell him in good faith at Tom already. I had $5,500 set aside to do the work until they decided to fight about it.
Right, exactly. So we'll see. But at this point, I haven't heard anything, and I didn't gather from him he had any plans to file anything. We'll see. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next, under finance, we need a motion for resolution 2019-29, pay bills and payroll.
So moved.
Sorry.
Any discussion? Not roll call.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
Yes.
Next, need a motion for resolution 2919-30, bills to be paid.
So moved.
Sorry.
Any discussion? I have one question on it, Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
This sewage Roseville debt service,
Mm-hmm.
what is that annual payment for?
Used to.
No.
Operation and maintenance of the joint effort venture on the sewer plant at
We used to send
Roseville.
them monthly, and they changed it to annual.
Okay, I knew we done it monthly, that's
I
why.
still do my transfers every month for it, but we only pay them annually now. They
Okay,
changed it.
okay, gotcha. So we
It
pay
is the
annual.
Crooksville, Roseville intergovernmental agreement.
Okay, so we do it annually.
Yeah, it's just been like that the past couple years. They changed how they build that.
If you have any questions pertaining to such, George will be glad to answer them because he still prepares it for them.
Okay. All right, roll call?
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
Yes.
Okay, next need a motion for resolution 2019-31, to have a list of transfers.
So moved.
Sorry.
Any discussion? Not roll call?
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
Yes.
Next, under Park and Recreation, need a motion to approve pay increase for Rick Dusenberry to $11.50 an hour effective immediately.
So moved.
Sorry.
Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Next, need a motion to approve the hire of Melissa Dennis as pool manager at $19.25, or excuse me, $9.25 an
She'd
hour.
probably love you for that.
So moved. Yeah, I'll put in an application for that.
Second.
Any discussion? Not roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Next, need a motion to approve the hire of Rebecca Snoffer as assistant pool manager at $9 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Not roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
That's the dog.
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Next, under service, need a, excuse me. Next, under service, need a motion to approve the hire of Lacey Tomlin as administrative assistant at $12 an hour with an increase to $12.50 an hour after a 6-month probationary period.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Not roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Next, under legislative, need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 2649 and ordinance amending the 2019 budget and appropriations as an emergency.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Next, need a motion to accept ordinance 2649 and ordinance amending the 2019 budget and appropriations as an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Not roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Next, need a motion to go into executive session for ORC 121.22 G1 for personnel and ORC 121.22 G2 real estate.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We're back out of executive session. Anything else come before council? Not entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Oh.
Roll call.
Mr. Ice?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
We're adjourned.